This is the biggest betting scandal in the UFC since Darrick Minner versus Leon Nerdenbeke, if not bigger. This has potential to be a lot bigger of a situation. Some of the stuff I'm hearing, this is bad. It's real bad. I'm going to get into all the facts. I'm going to get into some of the stuff I've been hearing. I'm going to get into a lot on this video and give you my thoughts on what took place over the weekend at UFC Vegas 110. Why am I making this video? People are like, why do you care? What do you mean, why do I care? I've watched the sport every week for the last, I don't know, since 2010, 2011. I've been betting on the sport every week for the last 6-7 years. What do you mean, why do I care? This doesn't belong in the sport. This has no business belonging in the sport. So of course I care. Of course I'm going to say something. And when stuff like this happens, yeah, I'm going to say something. So I'm going to get into all of it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But I'm going to get into the facts first. These are the facts. These are undeniable. These can't be debated. People are trying to debate it. You can't debate this. The facts. The facts. Isaac Dargaryen was anywhere from minus 245 to minus 270 all last week for UFC Vegas 110. Very big favorite. I didn't really see anybody on Yadi or Davai. Not many, if any, not many at all. So the line kind of hovered around the minus 245 to minus 270 range. If anything, a little bit of money came in on Isaac Dargaryen throughout the week. And I'm watching the fights on Saturday. And, sometimes I like to check the lines, but I was checking the lines specifically this time because I wanted to see what fights are coming up next, right? And I just so happened to see the Dargaryen Dalvai line, and I see money pouring in on Yadi or Dalvai. And if you guys know anything about, betting and UFC, it's not uncommon for, a lot of money to come in on a fighter, especially on fight day. Because when fight day approaches, that's when all the limits start to open up. People can get a lot more money down, and that's when some of the bigger bettors will place their bets, on fight day. So it's common. It's very common for lines to move, on fight day here and there. What's not common is this. I have not seen a line move like this since Darrick Minner, Leon Nerdenbeke a few years ago. And I remember that day. I'll never forget that day. I was on a stream. I was on a show. And we were watching the line in real time, and we were like, yeah, something's up. Something's up with this fight. This line it makes no sense. Money's pouring in on Leon Nerdenbeke. Money's pouring in on the under 2.5 rounds. Money's pouring in on the first round prop for Leon Nerdenbeke. Something's up with Darrick Minner. And what happened? Darrick Minner shows up with an injury. I think it was his leg. He actually was kicking with that injured leg, and he got finished in the first round in the first couple minutes of the fight. And of course, there was that huge betting scandal, which, by the way, took forever. It took years to hear anything about it. A couple years later, we heard, oh, yeah, there was some funny business going on, and, Krause, Molina, and Darrick Minner were all involved in some type of way. I don't think any of them got any prison time or nothing like that. And we didn't hear much. To be honest, we didn't hear much about it. People kind of swept it under the rug, kind of. It wasn't really that big of a deal. Everybody kind of knew it was fixed, and James Krause, Jeff Molina, and Darrick Minner, those guys will never be a part of the UFC again, type thing. So I haven't seen a line move like that since the Darrick Minner, Leon Nerdenbeke fight. And I'm looking at the line, and I'm like, gee, I haven't seen this since that Minner fight. Money's pouring in on Yadi or Dalvai. This doesn't happen. You don't go from minus 270 to minus 130 in the span of an hour and a half. That doesn't happen, and it's never happened besides the Minner fight. A line movement like that. On some books, Isaac Dargaryen was even a pick'em, minus 110. On one of the exchanges I saw, Isaac Dargaryen was a slight dog even. That doesn't happen, right? So I call Uncle Weezy because me and Weezy both have a bet on Dargaryen. We both like Dargaryen that week, and we both ended up cashing out of the bet just in time for a slight loss. I was able to get out of the bet because I don't want anything to do with the bet. I did the same thing with the Lucas Almeida fight. Once I saw that, Lucas Almeida had a hand injury, I cashed out instantly. Because I don't want to be a part of the shenanigans. And once I saw the line movement and all that, I actually alerted my Discord and said, yeah, there's some funny business going on. There's mysterious line movement. I don't want anything to do with it. Alerted the Discord. Told people to get out of the bed if you can. I know some people that actually hopped on the Yadier side as well. But I didn't want anything to do with the fight. So I was able to cash out of the Dargaryen bet. And I call Weez and I'm like, man, it's happening again. I mean, Dargaryen's fucked. Simple as that. I was like, Dargaryen's going to get finished in the first round. I literally said that. Dargaryen's going to get finished in the very first round. And why did I say that? This right here. The round 1 prop. This was the most telling. Okay, we can make excuses. Oh, money came in on Yadier Davai. Okay. All right, money came in on Davai, sketchy, yes, but, the Davai first round prop went from plus 850 all the way down to some books plus 350, plus 400 on a specific prop, round 1 prop. That's a specific prop. And there were rumblings that, some sports books were getting flagged, some red flags, big bets coming in on a specific prop, that's going to show up, that's going to, raise some question marks, raise some concerns, because why would, a large group of people or multiple people be placing a lot of money on a prop that quite frankly makes no sense? If you guys know anything about Isaac Dargaryen is one of the best round 1 fighters in the division. I truly believe that. This guy's a monster, and I was watching the Ariel Helwani show by the way, if you guys have not seen the Ariel Helwani show, that was released today on Monday. He talked about how he actually was talking to people that trained with Dargaryen and how this guy's just going out there and beating the crap out of high-level fighters. I mean, this guy, Isaac Dargaryen, is a very high-level fighter. Elite wrestling background, elite top game, and his best round's the first round. This guy, Dargaryen, he's either finishing you in the first round or he's like 10-7ing you in the first round. I mean, this guy Dargaryen is a first-round monster, and in theory, that would be Dargaryen's best round, would be round number 1. So, yeah, money came in on Davai, okay. But money coming in on the first-round prop, that raised a lot of concerns, a lot of red flags. I'm like, okay, yeah, Dargaryen's getting finished in the first round. It's happening. And it's like, some of the comments I've been seeing this week, I mean, people are saying Dargaryen sucks. First of all, he doesn't suck. People are saying, oh, Davai was easy money. Somebody posted a ticket under one of my tweets that said, Davai was easy money, and the ticket said plus 140. And it's like, why'd you bet him at plus 140 when you could have bet him at plus 205, plus 210? Like, I don't know. Like, it's right there in front of our faces. This we don't see that. We have not seen anything like this since the Minner Shalian Nurdenbeke fight. And I said this before the fight. I really, truly hoped that the UFC would pull the fight. I said if the UFC had any integrity whatsoever, they wouldn't let this fight happen. We knew it was going to happen, or at least I did. Most people did. Most people that look at the lines each week, like I look at the lines, 100 times a week, more. You can tell when something's up. Something was up. I knew something was up. And I was hoping, I really was, that they would go back there and potentially pull the fight, but they didn't pull the fight. They let the fight happen, and what I expected to happen happened. Dargaryen gets finished in the first round. And yeah, we could talk about the fight a little bit. Dargaryen is an elite wrestler. And I dug into the Dargaryen-Dalvai matchup quite a bit. And you go and watch any of Dalvai's fights in the past. And Dalvai's a really good fighter, don't get me wrong. I like Dalvai. I'm very high on Yadier Dalvai. And it's a shame that he's not going to get the credit he probably deserves going forward. But, I mean, you watch Dalvai's fights, he's getting taken down easily in all of his fights. He has no takedown defense. He's jumping the guillotine in all of his fights. And Isaac Dargaryen goes out there, shoots a half-assed takedown, gets it stuffed, gets his back taken, and then gets choked out a couple minutes later. Wasn't fighting the hands, and we'll talk more about that. But the round one prop, I mean, that was the biggest teller there that something was up. And shout out to Hey Jive Picks. He found this. So Isaac Dargaryen had an interview this week basically saying that fighters should get like a 3% to 5% percentage of sports bets. Which, ironic, yeah. But, I mean, first of all, that's stupid. I mean, the only reason people are watching UFC, or most people, is because they're betting on it. That's most sports in general. You know, no fighter should not get a percentage of sports bets. I mean, that's dumb first and foremost. It's a very dumb thing to say. And second of all, it's just ironic that he would say something like this, Isaac Dargaryen. I thought that was very ironic. And let's talk more about this. So I was watching the post-fight show they do with Michael Chiesa and some other guys in there. And I like to hear what they like to have to say, especially for this card. I wanted to hear what they had to say for the Waldo Cortez Acosta situation, and then, of course, the Isaac Dargaryen situation. And you know what's really telling? And we heard DC on the commentary being very critical of Isaac Dargaryen, kind of being confused. DC very confused about, you know, Isaac not fighting the hands, Isaac just making, you know, very, you know, day one type mistakes. And here's kind of what Michael Chiesa had to say about it. Who Chiesa, yes, he's been submitted a lot, mostly by Darce, but I mean, Michael Chiesa's, you know, been there, done that. He's been in the UFC for a long time. He's been grappling for years and years. He's wrestling background. Michael Chiesa says that was an F- performance. It was absolute trash. He fought like an amateur. He fought like a guy who doesn't even belong here, and I hate to just totally crap on the guy, but I've got to be honest in my assessment. If that's how you're going to fight, there's other people who are more deserving. That's what Michael Chiesa had to say about Isaac Dargaryen's performance. And like I said, DC was talking about it, how he was kind of confused. Like, what are you doing, Isaac Dargaryen? And I don't think DC had any idea about the line movement. Like, and even people that didn't know about the line movement kind of were like, oh, what? That's kind of weird. Kind of a weird situation there. Really weird situation. And then there's this, and for all the people that's saying, oh, it wasn't rigged, you know, Isaac Dargaryen just sucks, which is stupid. I mean, that's so stupid to say. But Caesar Sportsbook comes out and says mobile customers with losing bets on Isaac Dargaryen, this is a UFC fight, will receive a cash credit within 24 hours or within 24 hours of the last leg being determined for parlays and straight bets, should that bet have won without that leg included. I mean, that's telling. I mean, why would they just randomly, oh, we're going to refund the Dargaryen bets for no reason? Oh, no, they're not doing that for no reason. So Caesars did that. William Hill did that. Same thing. Customers will be refunded. I mean, that's very, very telling that did even happen. And then we get news today, last night, I think it was late last night, that Isaac Dargaryen has been released from the UFC. Isaac Dargaryen, who we went 2-2, he had that loss against Christian Rodriguez in a fight that a lot of people thought he won. I thought he probably won that fight too. And then he had that loss against Yadir Dalvai, and they cut him. And he was the only person cut thus far from last week's card, where I feel like Dumas probably should have been cut. I feel like a couple other fighters, Montserrat Ruiz probably is going to get cut, but they didn't wait. They didn't wait a couple days, couple weeks. Isaac Dargaryen got cut last night. He got cut like Sunday night type thing. I mean, that's very telling. They're not going to cut Isaac Dargaryen for no reason. They're not going to refund bets for no reason. So Isaac Dargaryen is no longer with the UFC. You go to Isaac Dargaryen's Instagram, all the comments are turned off. It's just really all not a good look for Isaac Dargaryen. And then the UFC comes out with a statement, and I'll read it. To be honest, it's just a lot of nothing. It's just a lot of nothing, really. They say, like many professional sports organizations, the UFC works with an independent betting integrity service to monitor wagering activity on our events. Our betting integrity partner, IC360, monitors waging on every UFC event and is conducting a thorough review of the facts surrounding the Dargaryen versus Dalvai bout on Saturday, November 1st. We take all these allegations seriously, and along with the health of safety of our fighters, nothing is more important than the integrity of our sport. Okay, then why didn't you pull the fight before it happened? Why didn't you pull the fight if integrity is so important to you? But that's what they said. To be honest, a lot of nothing. A nothing burger. And so, yeah, those are the facts. The facts are the betting line moved. That's a fact. That happened. There's no debate. There's no speculation. The betting line moved. Some books took the fight off the board. A couple books took the fight completely off the board. You couldn't bet on some of the books. You couldn't bet on the fight at all. On a lot of the books, they took all the props off the board. The props were taken off the board of the Dargaryen-Dalvai fight before the fight happened. They were taking off props. They were taking off money lines. All before the fight, right? So those are the facts. That's what happened. Round 1 prop getting smashed, money line getting smashed, and then Dargaryen got finished in the first round, which would in theory be his best round. And it's too much of a coincidence to not be anything. So I was listening to Ariel Helwani's show today, and shout out to Ariel Helwani. This guy, say what you want about him. Some people like him, some people don't. But this guy, Helwani, has a ton of connections in the UFC, in the MMA space, just a ton of connections. And, I recommend watching Ariel because he had a lot of great information there. But, I mean, some of the stuff that he said on his show today was, I mean, it's massive. It's bigger than, Dargaryen just threw the fight. And I did want to go over a couple things, what Helwani said. And Helwani said, my understanding is that the Dargaryen controversy is not an isolated incident. He says, I've spoken to multiple people who have either experienced or know of others who have been approached about their willingness to do something like this. You know what he's saying? He's saying that fighters have contacted Ariel, and they're basically saying that, yeah, a group or someone have come up to them and say, hey, are you interested in throwing a fight for X amount of dollars? I mean, I don't think people understand how big that is. I mean, that's huge. That's a big problem. He says, this is a massive issue for the UFC, and when you consider the questionable refereeing as of late, you can't help but to wonder if there are integrity issues as well. And yeah, the refereeing the last 5-6 weeks has been awful. We're stopping fights and then restarting fights. It's been ridiculous. I mean, it's been horrible. The reffing's been horrible. And typically, if you've been an MMA fan for the last several years, typically we're worried about the judging. But now, no, we're not really worried about the judging, even though it's never been great. It's been a lot better. It's still not great. But we're worried about the reffing now. We're worried about people throwing fights now. I mean, there's a big integrity problem right now in the UFC that needs fixed, and it needs fixed fast. And then also Helwani says, here's what I know regarding the Isaac Dargaryen gambling allegations. The UFC was aware of this. From my understanding, there were multiple conversations with Dargaryen and his team about this activity. I've spoken to several people who have known Isaac for a long time, and I've been told that in the gym, he goes up against some of the best fighters in the world and not only holds his own, but sometimes gets the better of them. With everything else going on in the NBA right now, the UFC should have just pulled the fight. Yes, agreed. To be clear, I don't believe the UFC had anything to do with any sort of nefarious activity. I agree. But if there were clear signs of something weird to go on, pull the fight. I agree with that statement 110%. I agree with Helwani there. I don't think the UFC had really anything to do with it, but I do think they should have pulled the fight. I do not think they should have let the fight happen. And the fact that they did go out and talk to Dargaryen and his team and didn't pull the fight, I really don't like that. I really think they should have pulled the fight. I don't think that fight should have happened. I don't think the Lucas Almeida fight should have happened. It's not good. Not good. And that's pretty much all I'll get into for now. There's a lot more that I don't want to talk about because I some of the stuff I've been hearing, I mean, it's not good. I mean, it's really bad, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. I just kind of wanted to talk about the facts. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to come on here and make stuff up. I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk about the facts first and foremost, and we'll see what happens. Something will happen. There's too many eyes on this story. Too many people are speaking out. And typically when there's a bad decision or, a referee error or, something sketchy happens, typically a lot of people won't say anything. A lot of people will be silent, especially, a lot of the media, worried about, I don't know, they don't want to say anything. But a lot of the media and a lot of big names, big guys are coming out and saying something. I think too many people are saying something for something not to be done, and a lot has already been done. They have cut Isaac Dargaryen first and foremost. There's going to be an investigation. But from what I'm hearing, this could be a lot bigger than just, Isaac Dargaryen threw the fight. This could be a lot bigger. There could be an even bigger problem going on. And I hoped that wasn't the case. I truly hoped that wasn't the case, and hopefully it's not the case. But from what I've been hearing, this could be a lot bigger than just one isolated incident. There could be more incidents in the past, several years type thing. So, yeah, that's all I got. Let me know what you guys think about this. In my opinion, this is bigger than the Derek Minner, Sean Leon Nurdenbeke scandal. This is bigger. This is probably the biggest betting scandal in UFC history. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, the Derek Minner, Sean Leon Nurdenbeke fight, I mean, that was huge, right? I feel like this is bigger. I feel like I hope something happens. I hope we get more information. But until then, I don't know. So, yeah, final thoughts on this. It's a shame, man. I mean, Isaac Dargaryen had a ton of potential. And I know people are saying he sucks. No, he doesn't suck. He had a ton of potential. Really liked the guy, but he's cut. We probably won't see him in the UFC ever again. And we'll see if he faces any legal action, anything like that. But, yeah, it just sucks. The whole situation sucks. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's a good thing, right? Maybe it's a good thing this happened, because I do believe that there has been a lot of really just too many referee errors that just quite frankly make no sense lately. Fighters going out there who are wrestlers and grapplers that strike for 15 minutes. It's all starting to kind of put two and two together, and something's seriously going on. So, yeah, that's all I got. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole situation. Let me know what you think's going to happen. Let me know what other fights you think were fixed. I mean, this was a fixed fight. I mean, it's not up for debate. You just look at the line. I'll tell you everything you need to know. But I don't know. I kind of thought the Michelle Pereira fight might have been fixed, man. I remember Nate Maness, Jimmy Flick, like, how are you not finishing Jimmy Flick? Just a lot of scenarios come to my mind, like, yeah, I mean, that made no sense. Jonathan Almeida taking Derek Lewis 25 minutes when the fight doesn't go to decision was minus 2,000. It's okay. All right. And I'm never one of these guys that have said a fight was fixed. That's not me ever. I've never would even think about saying something like that, but when it's right in front of your face, you kind of got to say something. So that's all I got, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.